Hello and welcome to our channel. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're new here, please give us a like and show us support by subscribing to our channel. Thank you so much. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's take a look at the differences in parenting employed by the rich in order to make sure their kids get better shot at success in the long term. Understanding how money works. While the poor remain financially illiterate, this might sound basic to some of you, but there aren't that many people who ask themselves, how do people make money? Why am I being paid this much by my employer? What factors determine my salary or revenue? How do taxes work? Can they be optimized? And what needs to happen to improve my finances? Rich parents usually make it a priority to discuss about the value and importance of money in their household as soon as possible. This familiarizes kids from a young age with the concept of value in exchange for services provided. They are introduced to the household expenses and put in real-life situations where they figure out pretty quickly that money is a lot harder to earn than it seems. On the other hand of the spectrum, the poor never talk about money at home. It's usually a secret how much the parents make and how that money is spent. The only time the kids hear about money is when the parents are arguing about not having enough, thus associating the entire concept with a negative feeling. The difference between an asset and a liability. The poor never know what is good purchase and bad purchase. After poor people earn money, they go ahead and spend it, and that's how they stay poor. So let us explain in as simple terms as possible. An asset makes you money, while a liability costs you money. The problem here is poor people never realize what counts as a liability. For example, both the car you drive to the grocery store and the house you live in are liabilities. They do not generate any revenue for you, but demand money to keep running. Same goes for your new iPhone. Fancy clothes, your flat screen TV, and everything else you purchased without thinking. The rich focus all their time and money on acquiring more assets, buying an apartment that generates rent, writing a book that generates revenue once it's completed, purchasing a part of a business that is doing okay, and more. But most rich people have fancy cars and fancy houses. Isn't that against what you're saying? Yes, they do own luxuries, but please pay very close attention because this is extremely important. The assets pay for the luxuries. Rich people never buy luxuries from their own earnings. Want a new fancy car? Figure out how to buy 2 apartments and use the rent from them to pay for the leasing for the car. That way, when you get rid of the car, you still have money coming in. This is a crucial difference in a behavior. When money starts coming in, focus on buying assets instead of spending it. They are not entitled to anything. The rich know that the world can take everything away if they are not performing, while the poor always look for someone else to take care of them. Being born in a wealthy family definitely has its advantages. You have access to better tools, to better resources, and you don't have to worry about basic needs. But you also open up yourself to new threats that poor people don't have to worry about. There's a lot more to lose if you're not careful, so the pressure is always on. It's really important for the wealthy to teach their children that despite them getting a head start in life, the journey ahead is long, and they need to remain focused on growth, not just maintaining the peace. Whether or not they will be successful in life depends on their own actions, and daddy's money can only go so far. Family fortune, where children feel entitled, usually crumble in the 3rd generation. First, there is someone who's really hungry and works incredibly hard to build wealth. Second, their children grow with a sense that all they need to do is to maintain the wealth. Lastly, the 3rd generation has lost its hunger, feels entitled to success without work or sacrifice, and usually spends it all stupidly. How to be sociable and connect with other people. You would think more people would realize how important it is to be able to have a pleasant conversation with others. Successful people socialize their kids before the age of 4. Not even kidding. And here's why. If your child gets socialized that early, other kids will want to play with them. If he behaves well with other kids, other parents will want to take care of him when he or she plays with their own. This has a massive snowball effect through life. If people like you and like being around you, this builds up and doors open for you that otherwise wouldn't. Teachers will treat you better, you will get access to better job opportunities, you will make better friends, so there's an entire tree of benefits that grows from early socialization. Stop expecting immediate results and avoid magical thinking. We are so caught up in this instant environment. Want to watch a movie? Netflix. Want to eat? Drive-through or order. Want to have intimacy? Tinder. That most people don't realize wealth and happiness do not fall in the same category. Poor people expect to get rich quick, to win a large sum of money or inherit property. They have this weird expectation that their lives will somehow magically become better. The irony is, even if they somehow got their hands on a lot of money, they are not educated enough to know what to do with it and eventually will blow it through it all. How to create daily habits that, on the long run, give them incredible advantages. One of the most valuable skills you can teach your child is how to create a habit for himself. Habits are amazing, and once you realize how valuable they can be, your life changes. It normally takes around 21 days to create a new habit, and once you push through that 21-day limit, you are off to the races. The habit becomes a part of you. You don't read enough? Transfer reading time into a habit. You want to get fit but never have the motivation to go to the gym? Make a habit out of it. Money is a tool, and it's a good thing. How many times have you heard people saying, "Money is the root of all evil"? Plenty, huh? Think back of the person you heard saying that. How successful were they? How happy were they with their lives? Poor people blame their misfortunes on the lack of money in their lives and attribute an element of negativity to the concept of money. This is because even when they get money, it leads to more and more problems which they don't know how to tackle. The rich do the exact opposite. They understand that money is merely a tool which you use to navigate life. It's just pieces of paper and plastic with drawings on them which we exchange for material value. Nothing less, nothing more. Increase income instead of lowering expenses. One of the most valuable lessons a parent can teach their child is how to generate more money. It takes the same amount of effort to work to barely survive or make a fortune. This might sound peculiar to some of you, but it's the truth. The difference is in the approach and the knowledge you use to back up that effort. The smarter you are from a financial perspective, the least effort you have to deploy into the real world. And that's why Wall Street brokers earn so much more than miners. Who between these two do you think deploys more effort? Knowledge is more valuable than money on the long run. There's another quote that we kept hearing a lot when we were getting started, and it took a while to fully comprehend the true implications it had. It goes like this: invest in yourself. It pays the best dividends. It has a lot more to do with increasing how valuable you are to the world. The world rewards people who are valuable because valuable people can create value for others, and in exchange for that value, they can get whatever they want. Solving problems is the quickest way to get rich. Something the rich are quick to teach their children is the fundamental difference between getting paid and getting rich. So let us explain. Poor people get paid to take care of something someone needs done. For example, deliver the newspaper, wash the car, answer the phone, and more single activity jobs, where you basically do the same thing over and over again. The rich never do repetitive work because that's easily outsourced. Instead, they focus on the big problem, and the bigger the problem you fix, the richer you will get. Not to waste time on things that do not correlate to the real world. Sorry to break it to you, but nobody sees value in your ethic or gender studies. Same goes for majors and degrees in journalism, film and media, history, or fine arts. To be honest, we feel the entire educational system is pretty messed up. They're just repeating to you same things that used to make sense a while back with a blatant disregard for the future. You're basically getting a massive debt over skills that, number one, do not have a direct correlation to the marketplace you will be performing in once you graduate, and number two, if you're really passionate about any of the topics and put in the time to master them, you have a better shot at making it on your own. How to use good debt instead of bad debt like the poor do. Yes, there are two types of debt. Bad debt makes you poor, while good debt makes you rich. Did your parents ever mention this to you when you were growing up? Probably not. It's one of those lessons that the rich have figured out a long time ago. Other people and institutions will actually help you get rich quicker if you know the difference between these two. 80% of results comes from 20% of the effort. Rich parents do not want their kids to be the top of the class. Shocker, right? It has to do with the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle or the Pareto distribution, which states that 80% of the outcomes is the result of just 20% of the action. In businesses, 80% of the revenue comes from only 20% of the customers. 20% of your employees basically do 80% of the work, and so on. This is mathematical ratio that has been proven to be quite accurate in almost all enterprises and in life in general. Having money doesn't make you a better person, it just solves some of the problems. When you're thinking of rich kids, you probably picture snotty, arrogant pricks who believe that just because they have money, they're better than anyone. That's not usually the case. Unless you inherit money, you probably worked your butt off to get to where you are in life. On the road to riches, you got to understand how valuable humility can be, and most rich people are very humble individuals. Because they never forget where they came from, these values don't get lost. That was today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something interesting. Comment down below what you liked the most about this video and suggest any topics that you would like to hear about in future videos. To show us support, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next video.